Dallas Cowboys OTAs going down at the Star in Frisco, Texas, before heading out to California in Oxnard. Mike McCarthy going 6-10 in his first season with the Cowboys. Last season improved that to 12-5, including winning the NFC East. The Cowboys will at least try to run that back. They lost the 49ers in the wild card round, though. But as you see in the NFC East, 17 straight seasons without a repeat champ, the longest such streak by any division in NFL history. Let's welcome in Emory Hunt to talk about the Dallas Cowboys and their outlook right now. They are the favorite to go ahead and win the NFC East, but as we mentioned, there's 17 years of not having back-to-back champs. How easy or tough will it be for the Cowboys to do that?
It will be tough, but I do feel like they will be able to do exactly that and repeat as champs. This is a very good football team. When you look at them from top to bottom, their two deep is always stacked with talent, and they have the best quarterback in the division in Dak Prescott. And people have to remember, this is a guy that's coming off of that gruesome ankle injury. He'll be 2 years removed from that. Quiet as kept, he had his best season last year coming off of that injury. So now getting back to what he was prior to that, I feel like being able to get outside the pocket and move a little bit better than he did last season. This team will be one of the better teams in the NFC and are considered, I know people will hate to hear this, Super Bowl favorites because of how good they are on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, not a lot of people agree with you. Some will. Cowboys fans will be happy to hear it. Let's talk about if the Cowboys took a step back. Obviously, you don't think so. Dak Prescott agrees with you. No more Amari Cooper, no more Randy Gregory, no more Connor Williams, Cedric Wilson, among others. So Dak Prescott defending his team, saying this to The Athletic. He said, quote, "We know what we have in this locker room and we know what it can be. Talent is one thing, but if you don't fulfill it, it really doesn't mean anything. It doesn't really mean anything. We got young players that just haven't had a chance to make a name for themselves. I know what this team has and the men that they have and the coaches and the leadership. We definitely didn't take a step back." What are your thoughts on that, Emory?
Completely agree, and I'll add some caveats in there. You talk about Connor Williams. Some may have viewed him as a liability, so I feel like they improved in that area with Tyler Smith. They drafted him out of Tulsa. Some people may say La'el Collins leaving is a huge gaping hole on the right side. Well, they had Terrence Steele, who's quietly gotten better every season he's been with the Cowboys. Randy Gregory was a good player, but how often are we talking about whether or not Randy Gregory will be out there on the field? So I feel like that's a wash. Plus, you get Lawrence back up front. You have some more talent you bring in. You sign some defensive ends. You drafted one in Sam Williams out of Ole Miss. So for me, they got better by staying pat and maybe trimming some of the fat off the roster. And as long as number 4 is back there under center, he gives them more than enough chances to win games. And I feel like that's the biggest key. As long as he's there and some of the pieces that they've added or drafted that have gotten better, they're going to plug and play and move forward.
So let me ask you that. What is their best offseason move? Who helps them the most?
It's off the radar, but I feel like James Washington was a sneaky underrated move. He was one of the receivers in Pittsburgh that didn't get utilized a lot. He's a straight go ball receiver. He reminds me a lot of what they have on a roster in Michael Gallup, someone that wins off the line initially, is able to stack the defensive back and accelerate to the football. I feel like when you look at him, Gallup coming back from injury, along with CeeDee Lamb, this is going to be a go ball offense. We're going to see these guys work touchdown or check down in the passing game. So I feel like James Washington getting this opportunity to showcase why he is someone that should have gotten the ball a little bit more so in Pittsburgh.
CeeDee Lamb, wide receiver 1, he says he's been preparing for this moment his entire life. Of course, recently we heard Jerry Jones talking to the media there in North Texas, saying that he thinks CeeDee is better than Amari Cooper. What do you think CeeDee Lamb's outlook looks like as a clear-cut wide receiver 1?
He has gotten better every season statistically. I know he wants to clean up on some things. You talk about 8 drops last year. 6 times Dak Prescott targeted him. They ended up in interception, so he probably wants to clean up a little bit of the consistency in terms of how he's running his routes. But other than that, he can catch the ball. He's a catch and run guy. He does a great job in trying to score the ball once he has it in his hand. So when you look at someone that's young, athletic, eager, and aggressive, all of those things, all of those boxes he's checking, leads me to believe he's going to have a breakout year once again. Almost 1,000 yards as a rookie, had 1,000 yards last year. He may flirt with that 1,200 number this season.
Micah Parsons, I want you to make the case, and I know Cowboys fans will love this, for Defensive Player of the Year. So last year went to TJ Watt, got 42 votes. Micah Parsons got 5. Aaron Donald got 3. make the case for Micah Parsons to win it this season?
Well, TJ Watt won't have the season he had last year, so by default, Micah Parsons should win Defensive Player of the Year. Probably should have won it last year. He would have gotten my vote. You talk about someone that had 20 TFLs. That is setting up prime property on the opposite side of the line of scrimmage. 13 sacks. And keep this in mind. This was what made what he did last year so impressive. He didn't play in 2020. So all he did was try to get his football legs en route to being the Defensive Rookie of the Year. Now he has a better grasp of what's going on with the system. He has a better grasp of NFL speed. He knows the playbook. He understands what has to happen, and he's going to be counted on. He's someone that is embracing the challenge. And I think he's going to smash those numbers he had last season. So, yeah, if he does that, even if he plays like he did last season, he could win it. But I feel like he's going to supersede those numbers and do a great job in winning Defensive Player of the Year. Hopefully, I made a cake.
Dive into that a little more. What makes him so lethal?
Because when you look at him, you think, okay, this is an inside linebacker, but it blew everybody's mind last year when he lined him up on the edge and had him rush as a defensive end. He was dipping under offensive tackles and accelerating flat to the quarterback. So when you have someone that can essentially fill three roles, an inside backer playing your tackle-to-tackle game, your outside backer being able to cover tight ends and backs and drift in zone coverage and make plays on the ball like he did, or a defensive end that could put his hand in the dirt and get after the quarterback better than some defensive ends that have been doing it their whole football career. So he is a 3-in-1 player, a special talent, and he's just scratching the surface.
Okay, so far you're upgrading basically the entire Cowboys team. You're upgrading CeeDee Lamb and Micah Parsons. Let's talk about Trayvon Diggs there. 11 interceptions last season. Can he sustain that same success after the incredible season we saw last year?
You know, that's a great question, Amanda. And, you know, because I'm such a master of linguistics, here's the thing. Sustain is a tricky word because that means he's going to be able to get 11 interceptions, you know, every year. That's a lot of luck. I would say no on that front. But in terms of getting better, absolutely. You talk about someone that has gotten better in terms of playing the football. 14 PBUs as a rookie, 20 last year. I think that number shows you he's getting better in that regard. Where he can improve and really elevate his game is being better in coverage. Because a lot of those interceptions, we tend to focus on that. We focus on the pick six. But if you go back and watch the film, you'll see he's giving up a lot of yards and the quarterback's just not going his way. If he can improve in that area and become a true lockdown corner, I think the sky's the limit. He may even flirt with Defensive Player of the Year if he's able to improve in coverage while also being able to get that interception luck that we like to see.
Dallas Cowboys are tied with the Commanders for the easiest schedule in the NFL next season. Is there a particular part, if you had to pick one, that's a stretch in their schedule that you're like, you know, this is a little questionable right here, I'm a little nervous? What part would it be?
I would say weeks 10 through 13 because you have some NFC Titans in there. And you have one NFC Titan in there in Green Bay. You have a team that's pesky in Minnesota. You also have the Giants thrown in as the fly in the ointment because you play them before you play the Indianapolis Colts, who should be a favorite in the AFC South. So that's going to be a key stretch of games for the Cowboys. They can't lay an egg in that regard. Otherwise, they could either lose home field advantage or find themselves not winning the division. So I think that's going to be the crucial stretch of games for Dallas this season.
Emory, we appreciate it. I know Cowboys fans love you because you're pumping them up with everything they need to hear, even though, you know, they're like, show me something. I actually got to see it this season. We'll talk to you soon, Emory. Thanks so much. The Cowboys are the favorite to win the NFC East there. You take a look at some of their notable odds over under 10.5 wins. I know a couple of our guys have taken the over there. Make the playoffs minus 280. Of course, they lost to the 49ers in the wild card round, but I will mention they are plus 115 there to win the division, closely followed by the Eagles at plus 185. Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.